episode 521 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. We'll be talking about tonight's episodes of WWE Friday Night Smackdown and AEW Rampage. All that and more right here, right now. 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, Wrestling Fanatics. Welcome to this Friday night episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 521. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Hope everyone had a great Friday today. And like I said in that little preview at the top of the podcast, going to be talking about Smackdown and Rampage tonight. And let's get started tonight by talking about tonight's episode of WWE Friday Night Smackdown on Fox, live from the Frost Bank Center in San Antonio, Texas. And just gonna go over some of mainly the matches tonight. And we have Montez Ford of the Street Profits with his tag team partner Angelo Dawkins in his corner, defeating Santos Escobar of the Latino Order with Joaquin Wild and Cruz del Toro in his corner. And then there's interference from a 3-on-1 attack with the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley, or 3-on-2 I should say. But then Carlito comes out to make the save for the LWO. And Austin Theory and Grayson Waller team up to defeat the team of Cameron Grimes and Dragon Lee. And in the main event for the WWE Women's Championship, Io Sky, along with Damage Control, Bayley, and Dakota Kai, with some help from Bayley, defeat Charlotte Flair to retain the WWE Women's Championship in the main event. Pretty good match there. And tonight, this was kind of a episode of SmackDown that was actually kind of light on the wrestling and had a lot of talking and backstage promos. And we had John Cena. I know I didn't mention that earlier, but he comes out, cut a promo, and talking about how long it's been since he's won a televised match. And then Solo Sikoa comes out, and then they get into it. And we also find out tonight that at Crown Jewel, the United States Championship will be on the line. Rey Mysterio defending against Logan Paul. I think, don't get me wrong, Logan Paul has actually impressed me and a lot better than I thought he would be some of the matches he has had. And I definitely think putting him in there with somebody like Rey Mysterio, I think Rey Mysterio can definitely get a really good match out of them. So that is 2 weeks from tomorrow at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, the Crown Jewel Premium Live event. And next up, we go on over to TNT for this week's AEW Rampage, which Rampage this week was taped also in Texas, just outside of Houston, this Wednesday night right after Dynamite. And only 2 commentators tonight, as our commentators are Tony Schiavone and Excalibur. No Chris Jericho tonight. And Rampage kicked off with Rocky Romero taking on Mystico, and Lucha Libre tradition, this match is 2 out of 3 falls. 2 CMLL champions in there. Really good match. Mystico goes up 1-0, gets the first fall. Then Rocky Romero gets the second one to tie it up 1-1. And then down to the last fall, Rocky Romero defeats Mystico. Or no, Mystico gets the third fall, defeating Rocky Romero. Very good match. I thought this was a really good one here, and I definitely recommend checking this one out if maybe you don't watch a lot of Lucha Libre. I'd say, or if you want to start watching or get into Lucha Libre, watch this one. And then maybe you can check out some CMLL or AAA. But this one, really good match. And I'd say this match tonight is definitely better than most of the matches he had as Sin Cara in WWE. And next up, we have a 3-way match to determine the number 1 contender for the AEW International Championship, and will face Orange Cassidy tomorrow night at Battle of the Belts 8, as John Silver taking on Brother Zay, Isaiah Cassidy, and Kip Sabian. In this one, John Silver is victorious, becoming the number 1 contender for the AEW International Championship. He will take on the AEW International Champion, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, tomorrow night at AEW Battle of the Belts 8, right after Collision, which I will talk about eventually whenever I do 360 Wrestling Fanatic tomorrow night. Remember, got 6 hours of pro wrestling to watch tomorrow night. And Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta defeated Brian Keith and Exodus Prime. Very good match there. Claudio and Wheeler get the win, representing the BCC. Really good main event, or not main event, but really good match on Rampage. And now we see Mark Henry, and it looks like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. And this week, Ruby Soho taking on Sky Blue. I'm a big fan of Sky Blue, and maybe even more so now that she's got this more edgier look about her since she was misted in the face by Julia Hart. Taking on Ruby Soho, kind of 2-on-1 with Saraya at ringside in the corner of Ruby Soho. Saraya interferes in assisting Ruby Soho to defeat Sky Blue in the main event of Rampage this week. It was a good match. Both Ruby and Sky Blue looked very impressive in this one. Really good main event on Rampage. So that was our Friday night lineup of pro wrestling this week. WWE Smackdown, AEW Rampage. I thought both shows were pretty good. I don't know if I would say they were real great or anything, but definitely not bad. We did have some good wrestling tonight, and like I said, there was some good matches on both shows, and that is about all I have for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Remember, there's a new episode of episode 11 of 360 Anything Goes, and this is one of the special Anything Goes episode of Anything Goes, where I just talk about anything that pops into my head, and still not sure what I'm going to be talking about on the next Anything Goes, but you can never tell. So just stay tuned, and if you have any questions, comments, leave your feedback and opinions on tonight's Smackdown and tonight's AEW Rampage as well. Also, less than 24 hours away, but leave your predictions for Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory pay-per-view tomorrow night. And like I said, I do hope to be live for 360 Wrestling Fanatic sometime tomorrow night, not sure when. Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory, we'll be watching that live, DVRing AEW Saturday Collision, and then Battle of the Belts 8 right after Collision. So it is definitely a busy night for pro wrestling. And as soon as I watch all three of those, I will hopefully go live for 360 Wrestling Fanatic. So stay tuned. But if that's too late for you, I understand. You can listen to the podcast version either here on Spreaker or wherever else you listen. And first though, tomorrow morning, the Saturday episode of Good Morning Wrestling fans, or wrestling friends too. Everybody that listens is my friend. But I will be here for GMWF to preview tomorrow night's Bound for Glory pay-per-view. So once again, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. I appreciate everyone who listens, and I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. But until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.